All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome into LiveStream under the Moonshine. This is LiveStream under the Moonshine number 298, guys. Welcome back if you've been watching this. Guys, we are continuing to play this letter. This is part 6, and I think at this point, we're 7 or 8 hours into the visual novel total. And we have changed from point of view from our first character, Isabel, who is a real estate agent trying to sell this big, obviously like haunted mansion, if you would, and some of the stuff she went through. And we changed point of view to one of the ladies, Hannah, who is buying this haunted mansion with her husband. And we found out that this rich couple is not all they seem to be, as they are having some inner turmoil inside their marriage, as her husband is a freaking jackass. Let's be brutally honest here. So it's understandable that she would be struggling in the marriage. And guys, at the very end of the last video, or in the last episode, if you missed it in part 5, she started letting some of this turmoil with her husband get to her when she saw how nice the character Zach was, who is a black man and a friend of Isabella's. They barely crossed paths once inside the mansion. And now she saw him again and started really flirting pretty hard with him. And he kind of said, hey, this is feeling uncomfortable. She's not, because you can see the relationship status between people. I knocked down the relationship a good chunk because she kept flirting so hard, because I made that choice to continue flirting with him, let's be honest, because I wanted to see the drama. I also a lot of times pick what I feel like is the more plausible choice sometimes, rather than what I think is the best choice. But anyway, that relationship got knocked down, but she was flirting with him pretty hard. And then I think she basically flat out told her husband, when he was being arrogant and drunk that night, that she was talking with him and blah blah blah, and pissed him off, and had her husband call the guy racist slurs and stuff like that, and show just how much of a jackass he is. The very end of that, I think he went to bed or something like that, and she was in the kitchen. She heard a growling underneath a hatch in the kitchen, and I think she was going to open it and see what was up, but her butler came in and pretty much saved her and said, hey, you're probably just hearing stuff, you're probably tired. Pretty interesting. I like the writing so far, and this visual novel has been good. So, yeah, that's a pretty quick summary of what's happened so far in this visual novel. It's all about a haunted mansion and a letter that says in blood, help me, help me, help me, help me. And it has caused a death already with the main character, or at least the starting character, Isabella's best friend, another realtor, who was brutally murdered inside of her house because of the blood letter. Well, it's called the letter. So we're going to go ahead and pick up where we left off, guys. We're going to go ahead and continue. Welcome in, welcome in. Luke is her husband. We're still with Hannah. Looks like it's the morning time. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as if it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. He just left, huh? That's not good. And for him to disappear today, of all days, is every bit upsetting, because what's to come? So, we're in Friday, the 28th of October in the morning. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed, as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day. Although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. So this is Hannah and obviously Luke. Looks like that's a picture of them when they got married. And I guess this is family members or whatever. Let's go ahead and catch up. If you guys are coming in for the first time, you guys haven't seen this, let's go ahead and catch up on the journal. We also have some new relationships as well. Obviously, Hannah doesn't have a relationship with herself. I guess she dislikes herself. I don't know. But I think it does that all the time for yourself. So Isabella, the person that sold us this home, not great. Zachary was up here, so I think it shows you the high point of where they were. But yeah, when she started flirting with him too hard, lost almost half a relationship status with him. And then Luke, we see that her relationship with Luke, her own husband, has went down a negative right there. And that's the most recent thing that happened back in part 5. So Marianne, that's the gal we was kind of having a good lunch with, I think, or breakfast with the last episode as well. Ashton, I don't think she really knows him. That's one of Zachary's best friends and Isabella's friends. All right, but let's go ahead and go back here, guys, and let's catch up on the journal. So Hannah Wright threw a party at the penthouse at the cache. The city's most powerful we're seeing, including Chief Inspector Harvey Lee at the Luxbourne Police Department. From him, the socialite herd of the Immigrant Mansion, the mansion they're buying, opening up one house, and the interior designer, Marianne McCullough. Okay? And then we have a new one here. I don't know if we've read all this. I think we did. I think the only new one is the one. Yeah, I think we read a lot of this last time. But Wednesday, this is where we have us at last episode, so this makes sense. Wednesday, October 26th, the Wright couple moved to their newly bought mansion today. It was already preparing for a housewarming party. Hannah and Marianne were seen having breakfast together, with the former complaining on accidentally divulging too many details about her marital problems. Yep, Hannah was definitely kind of really, trying to de-stress, I guess, or talk it out with somebody that's really not her friend that much. It's just an interior decorator. And I think Marianne took it kind of a little awkward, I think. So then, Wednesday, October 26th, Hannah met Zachary Steele, the photographer, a freelance photographer from Luxury Living, an interior design magazine. Zachary was tasked to interview Hannah and to take pictures of the mansion and its new owners. What should have been a professional meeting ended up being friendly, perhaps too personal. Yep. During supper, Hannah found Luke drinking absinthe, and this caused an argument. While Hannah was angered by her husband's drinking problem, Luke was suspicious of his wife's activities, having not seen her the whole afternoon despite finishing Luxury Living's interview early. Then there was the crying woman. Oh yeah, it wasn't moaning; it was a crying woman under the hatch in the kitchen or whatever. That's what it was. So anyway, she's saying hopefully her husband will be back in time for the party. This is our house, after all. Yeah, I mean, they just bought this mansion. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance from the Luxbourne is invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. I am kind of curious if Zachary is actually going to show up for this party. I kind of have my doubts after the way she flirted with him too hard last episode. Marianne and I discussed business and last-minute touches of the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had to acquiesce. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. Okay, so I guess he means agreed. Did you agree? I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings in their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up for the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned.
I do like the fact that this visual novel, it's going to be a really long visual novel, so it does have voice acting, and they do a pretty good job of it, I think. So that does save me from having to read everything. A lot of these visual novels I read myself, I end up having to try to change my voice a little bit to show the difference between characters and do all this, these lines myself. So I do appreciate that this visual novel does have the voice acting. That definitely helps a lot.
I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his requests right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Nope. Around? No. Where the hell is he? Who knows where he is? I don't know.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I've already gotten used to him. I should be, by now anyhow. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain and to whine about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. Yeah, and she kind of did that to the same person last episode over breakfast. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, a lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart. I can see that.
Yes, but Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
That sounds like complete bullshit. I think she's just making that up. Perhaps I am being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details, so maybe she knows where he's at, okay? But I thought myself clever with a plan to dress it up as gossip. Mary Ann's raised brow makes me unsure whether she's interested or not. Although that does make things better if she has no interest and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband.
It almost sounds like she's kind of like, using the whole friend thing as a reference to how she feels. Yeah. Kind of like when you tell somebody, sometimes, oh yeah, my friend has this problem. Yeah, my friend has this problem where whatever, whatever the problem is that they actually have.
But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark.
Yeah, you gotta work at it. You gotta work at a marriage to keep it going. I don't care who you are. You gotta have long-term relationships. You gotta keep working at it. You can't, I learned that in my marriage. You can't take partner for granted.
What do you think?
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Of course we want her to be honest. I'm always going to choose this.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
I think that's probably the more plausible thing she would say, too, to be honest.
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
Yeah, but you haven't heard what she has to say yet. So let's see. Let's see if how you take it. She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. She almost looks sad there, look at her. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. Yeah, she's probably thinking of how to word it, to be honest, and staying professional. But then she finally speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Yep, see, she knew that she was talking about Mr. Wright, his friend, visiting his friend or whatever, but she was actually talking about herself. And the reason Marianne knows is probably because she's been around a little bit. She's been around the block a time or two and has a little life experience. But also because Hannah, divulged too much information just a couple of days before on Wednesday. Now it's Friday. Just a couple of days before over breakfast, she divulged too much information about her marital problems with her. Now it's my turn to hesitate. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Yep, so I called her out, and so did Marianne here. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne is just more keen than the average person, of course. Is it a necessity to her career? And she's been working closely with us after all. Yes, that's gotta be it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
She looks inquisitive. And what is Marianne gonna say? Inquiring minds want to know.
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle.
Marianne's pretty savvy. She's pretty smart. Especially if she has a job. I mean, she's doing a job for Hannah and her husband as a interior decorator,
But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else.
Wow. Let's read that again, guys. I think she definitely... Yeah, I'm really curious to see how Hannah takes this because she hit her low. So here it is. Hannah's been telling her this whole time about the woes and oh pitiful me, oh sad me, and oh woe me about her bad marriage. And now Marianne comes right back at her without even talking or really knowing her husband that well and says, if the troubled husband with a neglectful wife, saying that Hannah's neglectful, asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and self-worth on her. Damn. He basically just took a fucking baseball bat and hit her right where it hurts. That's pretty harsh. I'm really curious to see how Hannah's going to respond to that. She's probably going to get mad.
Someone who won't even give him the time of the day.
Basically, you know what I get from that? Basically, this is a pretty clever woman, and we've already seen Hannah shut the door on him in, I think, 2 episodes ago, and not let him sleep in the room because he was acting up and being belligerent at a party. But it's almost like Marianne here knows that Hannah is not giving him the bang bang. You know what I mean? Hannah is not putting out for her husband. Yeah, and I kind of know a little bit about that too. That's hard to deal with for a man. If you're married, you feel like, and both people, either couple. Especially if you're affectionate, if you love romance, if you love all that stuff, right? And you're not getting it, you're not getting your needs taken care of on either side. That hurts, especially when it's from your own spouse. Someone who won't give him the time of day. Damn, I think that's exactly what she's talking about.
Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself.
Damn, she just continued to batter her with the bat. I mean, she said, do you want my honest opinion or do you want to lie? You want me to just pass at you or do you want me to tell you the truth? I don't know that she had to take a baseball bat and smack her right upside the head 5 times, though. But see, these are hard words to take. I think Hannah's going to be a little bit hurt more than anything. She might show anger, but she's probably going to be more hurt than anything.
Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone.
Wow. She was almost saying, hey, you're a married couple. You guys should, go explore other options for a couple weeks. I'm gotta be honest, guys. I'm also starting to wonder if maybe her husband is hit on Marianne, or if Marianne has raised an eyebrow to her husband. Wondering, hey, man, can I get in and have some fun with your husband? I don't know. Or maybe she's just being brutally honest. Maybe she has no interest. I don't know why she would have interest in that that he's an asshole.
That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
Wow. That would hurt. If you were Hannah, those would be harsh words.
So you're saying they should divorce?
We're saying they should divorce. Look at her. No, she didn't say that.
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place.
Damn.
We shouldn't let our fear control our lives.
Well, I have to agree with Marianne here.
But it's just a short hiatus is all.
He's basically saying take a break. Maybe think things over and make sure that you still love each other, but you still want this. And I think that's pretty common nowadays in marriages. I feel like people pull apart, they take each other for granted, and then they do end up saying, you know what, let me figure this out. I need time away. The wife leaves, goes to her mom's house or whatever, and then maybe starts fucking with some other guy, because there are so many options available online and everything like that. And that's how marriages break up. I mean, it's easier than ever nowadays to end not just a marriage, but a relationship or anything, because there are so many options available with the online dating and apps and everything else nowadays. It's kind of sad. And men have so many options today as well. Like, I've never really been into porn, being completely honest, but men have so many options to take care of that need with online pornography and videos and whatever. There's just so much available online. And I think a lot of men have decided to kind of go their own way and not deal with the relationship stuff or the struggles with it or having to please a woman. And I think it's sad, but both people just have plenty of options available nowadays. It's a lot different than it was 30 or 40 years ago before the internet came along. I mean, it is sad. I mean, all you have to do, guys, is look at any family, look at any married couple or whatever, and I guarantee if you could have a peek into people's indoor houses, right, of like, I would bet probably 90% of all married couples, if you was to take a peek at just a random dinner between, with two married people, I bet you would see dude down in his man cave or, in the other room or whatever, watching TV or on his computer or on his phone, and a woman maybe in a different room on her phone, chatting with other people or being entertained by somebody other than their significant partner they should love and cherish and be holding on to. And I think that's probably what you would see, probably at least 85% of the time, if you was to look at married couples, only married couples here in America. I bet you would see something real similar to that if we just looked at an average dinner time or an average evening, rather than the couple cuddled up watching a movie together or, playing a game together or reading a book together or whatever. See, I think that would be awesome. I think that, like, rather than laying in bed and just, like, reading a book myself or watching a video myself or watching a movie myself, I think that would be amazing to have a partner that would love for me to read a book to him or read a book to me or whatever as I drifted off to sleep or drift off to sleep together watching a movie or something like that. That, to me, I think that's what a lot of people dream of and want, But nowadays, I just don't think you see that a lot if you just take a peek in the average married home. You guys will have to let me know what you guys think of that down in the comments below. I'd love to know. So anyway, Marianne's just saying, before I started talking about it all, she's just saying, take a short break.
Or, couples therapy?
That's a good option. I honestly, I've never really been through couples therapy or whatever. I kind of have my doubts about how effective that would be, to be honest. I think it's somebody, a psychologist or whatever, that really is just looking to make a quick, easy buck and let two people talk it out in front of somebody. And, if you're a mature couple, you should be able to talk at home and should not have to pay somebody $150 an hour or whatever to sit there and talk and have a mediator guide you. I mean, as long as you're mature. I feel like that's kind of silly. You're just paying somebody a lot of money to listen to your drama. I don't know how effective that would be, to be honest, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She trails off. having said our piece and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. In the end, guys, I did go through relationship life coach courses back in 2020. And there's really one thing that is the end-all be-all of any relationship. Both people have to want it. It can't just be one. And this goes through, dating after you've known somebody a week, after you've known somebody a year, and after you've been married, like this couple has for 7 years. In the end, both people have to want each other. Both people have to make an effort to, not completely be selfish all of the time, and at least put the other person as a priority some of the time. And you have to want it. Both people have to want it. It can't just be one or the other wanting it. And both people have to try. Marriage, unlike the movies, is not, it's not like the movies. There is no magical Cupid. There is no romantic music that plays every time somebody writes a love letter or a poem or whatever. That doesn't happen in real life. Both people have to want it. You could write all the love letters in the world, in the real world here, to a woman that you think is pretty or a woman that you think you're in love with. You can write all the love letters in the world to them. And if they're not interested in you, if they don't find you attractive, if you're not somebody they want, then all those letters aren't going to make magic music play in the background and make their heart turn your direction. Both people have to want it. You have to be attractive to the other person. Maybe not physically. Some people are more into emotional or whatever, but you have to be attractive at that emotional level, at that physical level, at whatever level it is that person's priority. You have to be somebody that they want in whatever way, or multiple ways. And that's just the sad truth. Both people have to want it. If both people don't want it, then maybe it is time for a break, like she's saying. There is a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. And to say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this just might be the calm before the storm, well, that's a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their coral anniversary right before they passed away. Aw. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years, well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. Well, it's not supposed to anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. And right there, guys, I gotta go ahead and say, I'll be completely honest, in my marriage, we were married for 15 years. And if I'm going to say to somebody in the same situation that's out there, if you're unhappy, you've been unhappy for a while with your partner at 7 years, if they're not really interested in repairing the relationship and you're the only one, or vice versa, or whatever, or neither one of you are interested in repairing the relationship, it probably is best to walk away. I'm not saying give up at the first time somebody spills milk. I'm talking about if both of you have been unhappy for quite a long time, it's probably a lot better to go ahead and break things off. Maybe before she ends up getting pregnant, right? And having a kid, because that makes things a lot more complicated. It's probably a good thing to go ahead and go your own ways, and each of you to maybe have a chance of finding happiness with somebody else. 7 years is a lot better to waste 7 years of your life unhappy than 15 years or 22 years or whatever. So I will say that. But I do think that if you have two people that really want each other, you definitely have to try. You can't just take each other for granted. But yeah, I can see how she's kind of frustrated that her parents have been married for a very long time, and they basically died happily married. And here she is, after only 7 years in comparison, already feeling like it's turned into nothing but a bad and sad marriage. That'd be hard to go through. I know, because I've been there. I dread the thought that since small spats, these little disagreements will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. Story updated. Okay, we got a new journal entry, or we got a new update on the relationship. When did he start to seek other women, lacking any ulterior motives? How do we know that he's seeking other women? I think she's assuming that. I mean, he might be. He seems like an asshole, but I'm really curious to know. I'm really curious to know if if her relationship with her husband just went down further. No, it didn't. It just went up with Marianne. Okay. So basically, the fact that Marianne was honest with her made her feel closer to her. Okay. When did we start to cooperate only to sit on our materialistic greed and attention-seeking ways? Money and success. Yeah, that doesn't lead to happiness. Fame and glamour. Not that I would know, because I've never had a whole lot of money, so I'm actually speaking on my ass. I'm just speaking from what I've heard. I've definitely never had a lot of money. Are those the only reasons we still stay together? There is a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, probably in her thoughts, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure of how to proceed. Awkward moment. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
Yep, she's gonna break out of that awkward silence, I think.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay in chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
But she's
you
honest.
must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to
You
say
cannot.
hello to Louise, at least.
Good jigger. You cannot. You need to say hello to Louise, at least.
If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
So later that afternoon, we got an update in our journal. We'll take a look at that. Yeah, Gajigga, welcome to the stream. Yeah, this isn't that kind of game, man. I know there's a lot of those kind of games on Steam, but yeah, I don't play those kind of games, being honest. But even if I could play those kind of games, I wouldn't be able to do it on Twitch. Just saying. But welcome in. The scene outside the parlor is great. A great organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of the tip agency, which provides staff for Right Enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on our own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and other staff captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and sherware good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking a little like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. To produce the stocks, to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails.
Damn, he's going off on him. Huh, we did not hire snails.
Snails are for the dishes.
Wow. A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floor of the core with thousands fill vases, or bosses, as they would say in the UK, I think. Some people call them bosses even here in America, I think. Floor of the core, where thousands fill vases, wreaths, and baskets. White petals are scattered along the driveway up front. An eye sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. Like that. Pretty. It is followed by a simple cake. Just a 5-tier white chiffon one, with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and, looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. Isn't isn't it interesting, guys, how you can have a married couple having, obviously, as we've seen in the last episode, they are having a tough relationship marriage. Things are tough in their marriage. And they are fighting, they are brawling, she is not sleeping with him. But the moment he walks out for the day, that's all she could think about is him. It's weird how that works, isn't it? You would think she'd be happy. You know, you'd think that with all the fighting and everything like that, she'd be happy he was out for the day and not there to ruin the day or whatever. But instead, she finds herself he's continuing to run through her mind. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I just wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering, with only a few selected invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
She's definitely sad. You can see she's sad, and I mean her voice shows she's sad as well. He's like, damn it, Luke, come back to your party at least. The entire thing screamed Luke Wright. And I can't help but add another question to my own growling list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always been about him nowadays, hasn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about me? What about Hannah Evans? Oh, that's her maiden name. He's like, what about me? That's, yeah, I'm not thinking this marriage is going to go too much further with thoughts like that. I used to be my own woman who made her own name, her own career, and her own damn decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me, just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked the numbers, I managed budgets, money, and accounts, analyzing the competition and the market trends. There was a calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison, and public relations, supervision, and staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others. I looked for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me, and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress, or some prize to be won. I remember the nights, before we got married, where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, and philosophy, to little things such as what we were going to have for breakfast, or whether we liked cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife, and that's it. Kind of a cold feeling to have. Especially when it was a lot better, early in the marriage, or before the marriage. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands preferred wives who were docile and subordinate. A woman who will always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all the aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children, and to take care of them in his absence. They said that I have no business working anymore after I was married. I blame society. But I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective bit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention. And it's Johannes. The guests have arrived, madame.
And Luke.
So this is her butler.
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Alright, so the party's starting without Luke. Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion in vehicles of every kind. Grand tours, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle cars or two, convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxembourg so far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays?
Welcome everyone.
So they are the center of attention in Luxembourg, at least in her mind. They probably are.
Please make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange, sunshine that we're experiencing now, before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, and others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also a few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Such as a young man with his oriental hair, ignorant of the looks he receives from men and women alike. That's funny.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Man from the Orient, huh? Or that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure of why she is here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
And Zachary is there. And I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
That's funny. And then there are people like the Chief Inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
Uh-oh.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee.
That's funny.
The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. No offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Wow. I mean, yeah, she's right.
Yes, well, what about Luke?
Uh-oh, talk about gossip.
Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
Wow, they're just kind of tit for tat. They're kind of going at each other here.
He's around.
Is he?
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing.
He reads her as well.
Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body.
Wow.
I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Yeah, she doesn't look too happy again.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. Could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out.
Damn. That's not
Not sure
good.
if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
Yeah. I think women can be pretty moody and definitely very moody when they're pregnant, but yeah, I don't think that's all of it. A hunch.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby?
Man, he is asking some personal fucking questions of her.
Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Damn, she's just getting she's getting the shit smacked out of her, like both by Marianne and now Officer Lee. They're being kind of cold. Have I mentioned how I don't trust him no matter how hard I try to say so? At least he brought me a gift, I suppose, or brought a gift.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Yeah, go inside and get drunk.
Think I will, thanks.
A greeting such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hours pass by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to right now. So in the evening of Friday the 28th of October, we're in the ballroom. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, when one band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. And for a while I stay with a group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not anyone watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I listen. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more but to make music. I think I missed something there. Hang on. Yep, one of our hotel managers worry about the stolen belongings to one of his patrons. A failing in security which shouldn't be brought up into higher authority soon. Oh, maybe I didn't miss anything. Yeah, I didn't miss anything. Our mayor, well, his cat died. And then there is that rose-haired woman once again. It is hard not to notice her with her distinctive locks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Yeah, I think she's one of the real estate agents that was working with Isabel, if I remember right. Or a friend of Isabel's or something. Her stance and the air she exudes, instead, are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Yeah, I mean, she looks like she'd be a really pretty woman. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. Well, she's noticing a lot. She's noticing all the guys that are asking her to dance, and she's turning them all down. I approach her intrigued, although it is no great mystery that what occupies her own attention, with the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand right beside her, pretending that I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Damn! Now she's kind of going low blow with somebody she don't even know. And that rhymes. I'm a poet and don't even know it.
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, looking at what Hannah's wearing doesn't exactly look like she's dressed in some fancy dress. I'm just saying here.
Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely just passes by, and it is a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
Oh, that's Ash. Yeah, that's right. That's Isabel's friend, too. Ash is Zachary's best friend, I think.
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend, then? Because that would explain those rejections.
Yeah, I guess. It's a little bit nosy, though. All my life, I have never seen a face grow red so fast. Yeah, I can't remember if she's Ash's girlfriend or not. We saw him early in the visual novel. And to be honest, I started this visual novel like 2 or 3 months ago. So they were back in like part 1 or part 2. And I don't really remember, to be honest. But I do remember Ash and this red-haired girl. And I know they're friends of Isabella's or whatever. That's great art. I mean, when you look at that art, the artist here does a great job of not only showing the vibrance and the hair colors and the eyes, and it's just really vibrant and well done, but mainly in the emotions and the faces. Quite the art. I like it. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
Yeah, right. I think she knows enough to know that you've been staring at him the whole time. Just saying. Yeah, it looks a little flustered there.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact.
Oh, that's funny. You haven't been looking at him, you've been staring.
Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property.
Wow.
I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel... God dang it, I keep clicking too far, guys. Sorry about that. I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. Someone's staring at her now, or staring at them. It is chilling, and though I am used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Ooh, don't tell me this is Luke, her own husband. Oh no, this is... Oh my god, no wonder she's feeling the hairs on it. What the hell? Is she seeing something again? Because we know Zachary saw something when he was at her house or whatever. Yeah. This house is fucking haunted, man, because this is now Isabella who's seen this shit. She fucking passed out and fainted, I think, in the very first episode, months ago when I started reading this. And now Zachary's seeing the same shit, and now Hannah's seeing the same kind of crap, and they all just think they're hallucinating or whatever, but when these fucking... These creatures, these zombies, whatever the hell they are, when they keep appearing to the, different people, I would think the house is freaking haunted. Just saying. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. My question is, would you really call her a woman? I would call this gal a woman, and I'd call Hannah a woman, but that, yeah, that's a thing. That's an it. That's definitely not a woman. Dark-haired and dirty, she looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call the security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. That is really creepy looking. All I hear is her laughing, haunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I am nothing but a pig to slaughter for her own amusement. Yeah, that's a creepy look. Look at the way her skin and her cheek is twitching. That's even creepier. And those eyes, of course, just look ghastly. And she legitimately, that's what I'm saying, this art is fantastic because that face genuinely looks scared. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. So you know that I can already tell you that this gal's going to be like, what the hell are you freaking out about? And she's going to look and see nothing. We've already seen that a couple of times in this visual novel. Yeah, this gal's going to turn around and look at her and be like, look at what she's staring at, and there'll be nothing there. But then, in a blink, she's gone, and the buzz of the party returns. Okay, well, basically the same thing.
I'll keep that in mind, but are you all right?
Exactly. She's definitely noticed that she's freaking out.
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light.
It must be that she's tired again, obviously. That's all it is, right? There's nothing in the house.
Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Rebecca Gales, yep.
Gales.
Name sounds familiar. Achievement unlocked, reunion. The name is familiar, like a fond memory. I recall the kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. Oh wow. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually Stovies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
Huh, when she was a little girl, huh?
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way.
Oh, that was her mom was saying hi to her when she's talking to her on the phone. Say hi to her.
But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses!
That's cool.
And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A. What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I have triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash!
Yeah, that's the guy she was staring at. There you go. Childhood friends, right? Well, that makes sense. Look at her look.
That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone with an earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
That's funny. And it's a tad sad.
This is a nice party, Miss Wright.
But I'm feeling kind of awkward because you're intruding on my personal life so much and I don't even know you, and I'm out of here. No, I don't know what she's gonna say.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky.
Wow.
Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Uh-uh.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
I'm kind of curious what the relationship is now, so before it goes up or down or whatever, let's go ahead and take a look at a relationship with Becky. Or Rebecca. Okay, so it's right there where Marianne's at. So Hannah says, doesn't everybody want their happy ending? Doesn't everybody looking for love, basically?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right?
Sometimes not.
You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
And there is a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a very long time. She was teeny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense.
Well, she just kind of admitted that she does like him, if it wasn't overly obvious, right?
I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
You want him to make the first move.
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway.
Well, nothing could be truer than that. Nobody's ever going to have a perfect relationship. You're always going to have disagreements or, little heated debates, or you're never going to see eye to eye all the time. Much the same way any kind of competitive PvP game is never going to be perfectly balanced and make everybody happy. Not everybody's going to be happy all the time. It's give and take.
There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans.
That is true.
It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then.
Huh.
I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress or the pink blouse and the petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all the years later, talking about boys and how they should go crazy for pretty girls, as if it's some kind of gospel that every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things back then, with me not knowing any better like I do now. Though, looking at her now, we must have kept some of what I said in mind, or she must have kept some of what I said in her mind. Perhaps I did say something good at that time, enough for her to take it to heart. But it all didn't matter in the moment as I mull over what she's just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne just told me. There is no time to ponder over that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music of strings and the chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer opens. Oh wow, guys! Wow! What's going to happen here? What is going to happen here, guys? Just a second here, guys. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else this late should simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person, or rather, one man. Hey, I think it's our almighty husband. The question I have now is he going to come in drunken and making an ass of himself like he has for the last several episodes? Probably. There is only one man who is audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party?
He's going to make an ass of himself, I bet you anything.
I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
To the right mansion or the wrong mansion? Oh, the right mansion, spelled differently. Sorry about that. My sarcastic self. Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to his presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight to shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like he just did. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks. How they listen, enraptured, even if all he's doing is simply a greeting. A little wave of his hands here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that, if he is not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love this side of him, especially when he looks at me, and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side, and I make my way over to Luke's.
Welcome one and all to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
Well, looks like I was wrong. He didn't make an ass of himself, at least. Not yet. Everybody's howling and hollering and clapping and applauding. Guests approach us left and right and shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, praises on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. Uh-oh. Is it a woman that he brought in? Or is it another ghastly being of the mansion? I'm going to guess it's a woman he brought in. I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with fury in her eyes, and she's already spitting venom. Oh, well, this has to be a zombie or whatever. Oh, nope, it's not. Johannes restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. What? What? Who is this? Who is this? Oh my god, guys. Who the hell is this? And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and end it right there. And we'll be back for part 7 here in the next few days to find out who this venom-spitting pregnant woman is. This is what I want to know. Is it Hannah's husband who has knocked up some other lady that's angry now that he's gone back to his wife's home? Is it somebody else? I don't know. We're going to find out in part 7, guys. Addie, my girlfriend, says, rude. Hey, guys, I think we're close to the end of the night. Usually I play one full day and get to the end where they go to bed or whatever. But I feel like this is a great stopping point, especially since we're over an hour in right now. So hopefully this will make you guys want to come back and watch more of The Letter. And we'll find out who this is and exactly what's going on when we get back. Or when we come back in the next few days. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Peace, everybody. This has been Zach Stone and I with LiveStream of the Moonshine, number 298. Be back for LiveStream of the Moonshine, number 299. Peace. Love you all.